Hello everyone, Criticorn here. Today's ship review is going to be about the 300 series, one of the fastest ships within the UEE Empire. But to keep up with tradition on the fact that it's one of the fastest, I'm going to speed through this video as fast as I possibly can. Thank you so much, guys, for enjoying the video. I hope you guys found it insightful. I hope you have a great week, a great weekend, and I'm going to stop this cheesy joke, so I hope you can forgive me for it. I couldn't resist. Now, to continue with the 300 series, there's going to be 4 different ships, accommodating players in different fields within Star Citizen. Whether it be the hybrid, all 3 ships mixed into one, outfitted for combat, deep space exploration, or a souped-up ship to participate in the racing career. And while all 4 of these ships' biggest advantage is going to be the speed, I also want to theorycraft and share with you how speed's going to play a very important role, not only within the racing career, but also combat and exploration. And along with that usual disclaimer that this game is still very much in the development phase and subject to change, the 300 series is being reworked and retweaked along with ship speeds in general. But it is important to remember that regardless of the outcome, this ship is still being marketed as extremely fast and will still be at the very top of the list as one of the fastest ships in the galaxy. The first ship in the lineup is going to be the 300i. This really is the hybrid of the entire series, as it's going to excel and be the jack-of-all-trades kind of ship, allowing pilots to participate both in exploration and combat. Of course, the most very prominent feature on the 300i is going to be its very strong thrusters and very powerful engine. Of course, any upgrades made to the ship throughout the weaponry or computer loadouts is going to affect the power distribution directly, and it's going to be up to players' personal preferences as to what percentages they distribute the power between the weaponry, computers, and the engine itself. And while I personally never had successfully used a hybrid mechanic, there's plenty of players out there that I can see using this ship, really enjoying all the aspects this ship has to offer, being effective not only in speed, but combat and exploration, and being able to modify and tweak that ship even further still for the pilot's particular use. If you would like to pledge for the 300i series, it's going to come in at a standalone price of $55. While the prices may fluctuate, it's important to remember that the 300i is going to be the cheapest of the 300 series, and is a really great deal for players who enjoy the hybrid elements that the ship has to offer. But if a hybrid loadout isn't for you, and exploration is your main focus, look no further than the 315P, the exploration ship of the 300 series. Trading out a majority of its combative electrical components for more scanners and sensors, this ship was designed for deep space exploration, outfitted with a longer range jump drive, and will do exceptionally well at finding jump points. In a Q&A with the developers, they were asked if the 315P would perform better than other exploration ships. They actually confirmed it will do very well at finding jump points quickly and be able to map them out. Its size, being a single-seated ship, also makes it incredibly competitive when looking for the very small jump points that only other single-seated fighter ships can actually fly through. It's also important to note that even though it's trading out a lot of its combative power to be fitted more for deep space exploration, it still has a great enormous amount of speed, power, and thrusters to help it escape and evade enemies. Now, if you would like to pledge for the 315P, it comes in at a standalone price of $65. Now, even though it lacks the capacity to carry a vast array of scanners and sensors, like a lot of the other larger exploration ships are able to do, it's still going to be the best exploration single-seated ship for any player, and I would highly recommend it as the best starter ship for a player who wants to pursue a career in the exploration field. It's going to be a great way to get your feet in the water and work your way up and earn the big, large, multi-crewed exploration ship. Or, if you pursue the solo more playstyle, keep upgrading this ship and modifying it and making it one of the best single-seated exploration ships in the galaxy. Of course, not every player wants to use the 300 series to be the best explorer. Some just feel the need for not completing that quote for fear from getting sued from Paramount. Of course, by this, I'm referring to the 350R, the racing ship of the galaxy. Now, the 350R's sole purpose is to be incredibly fast, meaning that its engines and thrusters are going to need as much power as possible. So when using the weaponry or computer loadouts on the 350R, it's important to note that they're not going to perform as well as the other ships in the 300 series. Now, while a lot of players certainly are going to be turned off by trading out weaponry for speed, it's still important to note that a lot of players are going to enjoy that aspect. Having a fast ship means you can actually pursue a racing career, and while some YouTubers feel that the racing career won't be much of a viable one, I think a lot of players are going to try and make it work. And while the ship will certainly still have a little bit of weaponry that can be modified and tweaked to still be very effective, I'm going to go ahead and speculate that this ship will still be a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield, and I'll go a little bit into that later in the video. Now, I'm going to go off off on a random tangent and speculate even further still about the potential of this ship, and that's in the field of studying black holes. Now, developers have said they're going to exist, and science ships are certainly going to risk it and try and get instruments close enough in order to collect critical data that would be very valuable. Of course, the engines on most of the scientific ships are going to be very weak, especially if they get caught in the gravitational pull. But because Chris Roberts has always had this really added element of realism, I think there's going to be an actual potential to use this ship and actually slingshot through the gravitational pull and use one critical instrument to get that bit of data and sell it for a lot of money on the market. Of course, this is just me theory crafting, trying to think of really cool ideas where speed will play a major factor outside of racing and combat. Now, while we currently can't pledge for this particular ship, I still wanted to make players aware of its existence because for some players, this is the end-all be-all ship for them. They want to have the fastest ship in the verse, and rightly so. So if that's you and you want to have the fastest ship in the galaxy, go ahead and pledge for a smaller ship and work your way up to the 350R. And finally, the last ship in the lineup is going to be the 325A, the combative ship of the 300 series. The ship is going to feature a very good weapons payload, a customized targeting system, and of course one of the most important elements of all, the powerful engines and thrusters to give it a huge amount of speed in the engagement, maneuvering its way through the battlefield. Of course, while this ship certainly is going to be one of the fastest combative ships in the verse, it's important to note that its advanced targeting system that it comes with is going to be incredibly helpful and very beneficial in pinpointing specific features on a ship. The developers have always said if you invest a lot of money and energy into tweaking and modifying those targeting systems, you'll be able to pinpoint the thrusters, the weapons, or other important critical elements of a ship that you want to disable. Of course, while I am just going to be speculating on this next feat, I think that the speed on the 325A is going to play a very important role on the battlefield. When it comes to the larger space battles, there's going to be so many different kinds of tactics and maneuvers you can use with having the fastest ship in the engagement. Because you are the fastest, no ship can catch you, and you're going to be able to pick and choose your engagements, thereby controlling all of the battles that you participate in. You'll be able to fly in and help different allies simultaneously, being able to wear down enemy shields and giving your allies that added edge they need to finish off their targets. There's also going to be great defensive tactics that your ship's just going to excel at using. Whether you're being chased by missiles or a squadron of fighters, you'll be able to drag those particular threats into the line of fire of other friendly ships that have point defense systems or gun batteries to get rid of the targets on your tail. Now, I could go on and on for days about these particular tactics, but the general point I just want to make is that having the fastest ship on the battlefield will allow you to participate in different elements within the combative arena, distracting players, causing confusion, and making enemies not focus fire on your allies and having divert attention to you instead. Now, if you would like to pledge for the 325A, it's going to come in at a standalone price of $70. That's going to be for players who really enjoy that speed aspect that I just talked about. For me personally, I'm going to be earning the ship in-game, which is also another option if you can't afford to pledge for it. This is also going to be really popular amongst pirates who need to have those fast attack craft to swoop in and ambush the mining ships or cargo ships as the slower supportive craft come up and lend their support in any way they can. I personally think that the 300 series is one of the greatest starter ships that you could pledge for under the $100 mark if you have the same interest in what these ships were designed for. So if you do have a little bit of extra money, go ahead and pledge for one of these starter ships. They're great and they're not going to let you down. And I can't wait to see what the finalized versions are once the game is finally released. So as I take off in my 300 series ship, I want to thank you so much for all the comments in the comment section down below. Thank you for the likes, subscriptions. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you all later.